Ladies and gentlemen, we will now call the February 10th, 2010 Caroline County Board of Supervisors meeting to order. Board members present, Mr. Floyd Thomas, representing the Mattaponi District, Mr. Jeff Black, representing the Western Caroline District, Mr. Wayne Akers, representing the Madison District, Mr. Virgil Underwood, representing the Reedy Church District, Mr. Jeff Seeley, representing the Bowling Green District, and I'm Calvin Taylor, Sr., and I represent the Port Royal District. At this time, I would ask Supervisor Black if he would lead us in the invocation.
All rise. Heavenly Father, as we come here and gather tonight, we ask for your blessing to make us make the right decisions for all people in the county. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any amendments to the agenda at this time?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We'd like to remove a report from the Caroline County Victim Witness Assistant Program. She's unable to attend due to illness in her family. VDOT may be a little bit late. They're at another meeting that has run long, but that's the only one we want to remove.
Okay. Unless there are objections, the agenda can stand approved as amended. I'm sorry.
I have an amendment.
Mr. Underwood.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add a discussion about, well, actually two. One discussion about biosolids being dispersed in the county. The second one is the voting precinct change for the Reedy Church District.
Okay. We can add that under new business. Discussion of biosolids and the replacement or the change of the polling district. Any questions? Any concerns? If not, the agenda will stand approved as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. That takes us to opening board comments. Mr. Thomas, do you have any at this time?
Yes, as a matter of fact, Mr. Chairman, I do have a couple. I've asked the chief, I guess he's going to come at a presentation, but I've asked him just to review the fire and rescue policy of taking patients to the nearest hospital versus the, or their hospital. And I understand he's going to do that as part of his presentation, but I think it would be good to clear that up. And another thing is we have, I'm not sure how we actually did it, but I know we honored a former Caroline baseball player, Sue Campbell, with either naming the stadium after him or naming the field after him, one or the other. And I was asked by a few constituents if we would consider naming the other facility after Caroline's own Tony Beasley, who gives us a younger person. And I think with all the things we're talking about with young people, I think this would be a good role model, and I believe that facility belongs to the school system, so we'll have to ask staff if they would be amenable to that. And last, for you, Mr. Chairman, I've been part of a group of diverse ministers who have gotten together since the Boston bombing a couple of years ago. It's myself, Reverend Upshaw, they're Protestants, Catholics, there's a rabbi, and I think an imam coming, and the purpose of this group was to talk to different county folks to get their perspective on things so we'd all at least live together a little better and at least understand each other. And I've been that representative from the board as the board chair the past couple of years, and I'd like to pass that on to you as the new chair. They meet on the third Tuesday, so it doesn't conflict with our board meetings. And I'll make sure you have the information.
Okay, I do meet with the Social Services Board on the third Tuesday at this time, so but maybe we can work something out where we can participate, or maybe Mr. Seeley might be able to do it if he is available at that time.
Either or. I'll make sure both of you, Major Mosier is one of the members that's on it too. But I'll make sure you both have this, so does the county representative.
Thank
That's
you.
all I have. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Black?
Yeah, I've got a few comments, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to thank all the residents of Caroline County who attended the Polar Bear Plunge that was in Lake Landor this past weekend. The last total that we had, or I had heard, was well over $15,000 raised, which goes to different charities within Caroline County, so that's always a good thing, and the water was really cold. Really cold. Next thing is I will be having a constituent meeting on Thursday, February 19th, 6 o'clock at County Line Baptist, followed by an hour and a half later, 7:30 at the Heritage Clubhouse. Congressman Rob Whitman and Delegate Buddy Fowler will be there. So if people have questions, it's open to everyone in the county. If you have questions on national issues, state issues, local issues, there'll be representatives from all levels of government there to discuss any questions you may have. The next thing I want to talk about, Mr. Chairman, is the deals with actually Aqua Virginia. The SCC, and I had talked to Ms. Cosby about this as well, the SCC has granted, State Corporation Commission has granted Fluvanna County their own hearing in regards to the two cases coming up. There's a case regarding surcharges on the bill that would affect basically Lake Caroline and Lake Landor and Bridlewood, the subdivisions, and that is scheduled for March 10th. And then there's a rate case where they're trying to raise their rates 10 to 15%, and that is scheduled for March 24th. The SCC has granted Fluvanna County a hearing within their county, and I was wondering if we might be able to petition for the same thing. I think they have set a precedent that is, they're making the citizens of Fluvanna who have complaints, obviously, about the service done by Aqua, they can stay within their own county. One of the hearings is at 7 p.m. after work. My concern is we're not going to be able to get enough citizens during the workday to go down to two different hearings, one on the 10th and one on the 24th. And there's some citizens that are pretty upset by these bills, and as well as the case. So I'd like to see somehow if we can make a motion or discuss that later on. Maybe I should put that in new business, but that's a big thing that's coming up that will obviously affect Lake Caroline as well as Lake Landor and some of the other subdivisions in the county. Another thing that I would like to discuss maybe now is, or just talk about, is at the last board meeting there was a statement made that saying that we could give the schools more money from when our departments save money. And I know we've got the budget process coming up, but I think that is a very, very bad precedent to say to any department it's a morale, it deflates morale in any department on the non-school side, say, hey, save money, and the money that you guys save, we're going to turn over to the schools. Now, if we want to give more money to the schools, then that's a separate issue. But to tell the departments, hey, you save money so we can give it to the schools, I think is a very, very poor precedent on our part, and that was very disturbing to hear that. Finally, I guess, Mr. Fincham, I'd like to talk about working on some sort of ordinance with construction as far as the dirt piles that are left behind in the Ladysmith area. We have very, very strict aesthetic codes in the Ladysmith sub-area plan. I'd like to see when construction takes place there that mounds of dirt aren't left behind, because that is not aesthetically pleasing at all. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Mr. Underwood, do you have opening board comments?
Yes, I do, Mr. Chairman. Last week I talked to a member of the Rotary Club regarding the senior gala that they put on every year, and they've been having some financial issues with contributions from corporate sponsors. And what I'd like to do is have you ask staff to contact the Rotary, come before the board and do a presentation as to what their needs are and see if we can't continue to support our seniors in that endeavor.
Certainly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Akers?
Mr. Chairman, at my community meeting in Lake Caroline last evening, there were a couple people that were concerned about the coyote problem that it appears that the region is having, and I'm sure it's in Caroline County. In fact, I know it's in Caroline County. And I've asked staff if they would, I trust the board will support that, to maybe call the state bar, inland game into the process and into the mix, and to see what we can do. Also, the possibility of establishing a bounty on coyotes in the county. I think that may, or the people at the meeting last night thought that may help with some of the problem and encourage people to go out and to kill them. If you saw the Freeland Star this past weekend, Sunday I believe it was, there seems to be a pretty large problem in Spotsylvania County, and so I think we need to address it now rather than waiting until it gets worse than what it is.
And you're talking about
So
the
you are
entire
asking
county,
staff to,
the entire county? Because, I mean, there's some on Baltic Road, I'm saying you're proposing the entire county, not just...
Oh, absolutely.
that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the entire county. Yeah.
so you asking staff to?
Yeah, I'm asking staff.
Okay.
I'm asking the support of the board that staff will, go
That's
ahead and look into those things and determine what other localities have bounties on coyotes, and if that is working for them, and if so, what it is, and we need to look at it in Caroline.
Okay. Certainly. Mr. Seeley?
Mr. Chairman, as many of you know, we have the new natural gas line that's actually running to Hoover Lumber, and there has been discussion at military affairs about actually advocating for that natural gas line to be extended to Fort A.P. Hill. We are in those discussions with the region, and in the future, I think it may require, not tonight or probably not next meeting, but a resolution in support of actually moving natural gas the line. Not that it would cost us, but a resolution to actually support that. And I think it'll do a couple of things for us in the 301 corridor. My understanding in talking to Columbia Gas is that they have plenty of capacity and line size to actually make that move. But what it might do to us with the EPA regulations that we're under and monitoring, it would give us at least another avenue to say, hey, we're doing all we can, and so is AP Hill, to reduce emissions and try to keep us out of the containment zone. So I'm hoping that in the future I can bring that back and we can take a look at it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Seeley. I have just a couple. In line with what Mr. Thomas said, the Mattapani Ministers and Church Association is also doing a similar thing as you were talking about. And they had a meeting here with law enforcement officers. We had representatives here from Caroline. We had some folks from Fredericksburg. Some of the elected officials from Fredericksburg were here. I believe we had law enforcement from King George, and I believe Spotsylvania, and I know we had representatives from the state. And there were a number of local church officials who work with the Mattapani Association. And the purpose of that meeting was to talk about enhancing the relationship, if you will, in the community with the law enforcement officers and the community. And and this is my personal opinion, I feel that in Caroline we are very blessed because we have, I believe, an excellent law enforcement group here that works tirelessly in the community. And certainly we want to maintain that. And I think we want to see that not only in Caroline, but certainly across the state and even across the nation. So it's just not something that is just getting started. So certainly I will do whatever I can do to work with both of those groups. And as I said, even though your meeting conflicts with the meeting I have, but hopefully between Mr. Seeley and myself, or maybe one of the other board members, we can get some representation there also. Having said that, I do have one more. I have two community meetings this week, or this week coming. On the 17th at Port Royal at 7 o'clock, and on the 19th at Upper Caroline at 7 o'clock. So these meetings are just as they are in the other districts. An opportunity for Port Royal citizens certainly, but any other citizen that wishes to come out and voice your concerns, talk about issues, ask questions, get answers. We try to have persons there, certainly from staff, and other persons who can answer questions that citizens might have. So again, my two meetings are Tuesday the 17th at Port Royal and Thursday the 19th at Upper Carolina. And just a few other issues. Mr. Underwood, the senior citizen gala, we will ask staff to invite them to come as you requested. And certainly, Mr. Black, we will ask staff to address the aqua issue and see if we can get a meeting to address what your concern is, as has been done in other localities. We will ask staff to do that as well.
Do we need a motion at all for that, or?
Yeah, I'll just direct the county attorney to do it.
Thank you.
And as far as the giving of saved funds to the schools, we certainly want to do everything we can do, not just for the schools, but every department in the county. But I don't know that we want to take money from other departments to do that. So having said that, I think that would take care of that issue. And as far as the bounties, we will do what we need to do with that, Mr. Akers. And as far as the natural gas line, when that comes up, if you come back to the board, we can address it at that time. Okay. That takes us to presentations and reports. Our first presentation of the evening is the recognition of Mr. Robert Mitchell for the years of service as fire and rescue volunteer. We have a resolution honoring Mr. Robert Mitchell for his service to Caroline County, and it reads as follows. Whereas Mr. Robert Mitchell recently announced his retirement from active duty with Fog Level Volunteer Fire Department after more than 35 years of service. And whereas shortly after beginning his service in 1979, he was named Firefighter of the Year and rose steadily through the leadership ranks on the strength of his dedication and abilities until he achieved the rank of District Chief. And whereas in addition to his duties with Frog Level Fire Chief Mitchell served as Vice President and Treasurer of the Caroline County Emergency Units Organization and as Chairman of the Fire Apparatus Specifications Committee. And whereas it takes a special dedication and strong desire to help others and tireless sense of community to forsake precious time with family and friends to voluntarily train, prepare, and respond to your neighbors in their time of need. And whereas throughout his more than 35 years of devoted service, Chief Mitchell has embodied this special dedication, sense of community, and sacrifice, and performed above and beyond the call of duty. Now therefore be it resolved that the Caroline County Board of Supervisors hereby honors Chief Robert Mitchell upon the occasion of his retirement from active duty from Fog Level Volunteer Fire Department and thanks him for his decades of dedicated service to the citizens of Caroline County. And it's adopted this 10th day of February 2015, and it's signed by the Clerk of the Board and Chairman Calvin B. Taylor. Would you come forth at this time, Mr. Mitchell? Mr. Mitchell, we have read the resolution, and I would just like to say personally, on behalf of this board, we thank you for your service. We realize that it takes hours and hours of time from your schedule to do what you do. We don't have enough people who are willing to give up that time. So thank you very much for all your years of service. This county would certainly not ever be able to pay you for what you did, but we can at least say thank you and give you this resolution. So on behalf of the board, congratulations and thank you. Would you like to say something?
Thank you. I've enjoying the few months I've had off since December, and like I said, it's been nice to serve, and I'm still be active within the county, but I just kind of need to take a break from some of the responsibility.
Well, thank you. And the other board members would like to shake hands with you as well. That moves us to our next agenda item, which is a report on Caroline Reed's program. Mrs. Maureen Dorinsky, Director of Caroline Library.
So close.
Okay, you're going to have to give me lessons.
There's some more of these in the back. If there's not enough to go around. Thank you very much. It is always an honor for me for you to give me the time to come in front of the board and express my appreciation, because I know without your support, we would not be able to provide the materials and the services and the programs for the entire county of Caroline. And do not think for a minute that every day I am not grateful for that, and I am not continually enthused and dedicated to this job and the good of the people of Caroline County, because it is always an awesome time at the library. And you know that if you came in a little bit more often, huh? Okay, so I would like to give you a short update on what we have been able to do at the library. I don't have an easel, but maybe, yes. All right. Yeah, I was trying to catch his eye, wasn't helping me out. That's all right. So, by the numbers, if everybody can see these numbers, what does this mean? 261. That is the number of breast cancer support comfort pillows that the Get Crafty groups all over the county donated to the Mary Washington Hospital. 42 plus 39. Let's see. In November, we had a knit-a-thon. 42 scarves went to the World War II Museum in New Orleans, and 39 caps were crocheted for Grandma Millie in Richmond. 83 is the number of pre-K kids that we have enrolled in the winter reading program. And show them the final number, Chief. That's okay. 160 is the amount, approximately, of books that Mrs. D has read to all her pre-K groups. Very pretty awesome. Thank you. And okay, you can rest for a minute because we're gonna talk about the next group, and then we're gonna show that final number. Okay, so that's what has happened, what you have missed. But here is what is coming up in March. I decided that what the county needed was something to bring it all together, something that we could celebrate, cultural and historical awareness. We are all going to read the book, When the Emperor Was Divine, by Julia Otsuka, and that focuses on the Japanese-American internment period of World War II. In addition to that, we are going to celebrate Japanese culture, and there are going to be events all month long at every single library branch. We are going to start out with an author talk. I have gotten a national best-selling author, Anne McClellan. She is the cherry blossom expert out of Washington, D.C., and she received a certificate of commendation from Japan for promoting mutual understanding between our two countries through her efforts and services with cherry trees. She is going to be here Saturday, March 14th at 4 p.m. in this auditorium. Then next weekend, Saturday, March 21st, at Ladysmith at 1 p.m., Professor Munson from Randolph-Macon College, he is the professor and director of Asian Studies, he is going to facilitate the book discussion, the main book discussion. And there's going to be refreshments, and he also says that he folds a mean paper crane. So we are going to have some origami breakout sessions there. It's going to be a fantastic time. And the greatest event of the month, I have gotten the curator of history from the Japanese American National Museum in Los Angeles to come here Saturday, March 28th at 4 p.m. in this auditorium. She is going to lead a lecture giving the immigration history of Japanese Americans and also issues of family, gender, race, and the incarceration camps during World War II. She will answer questions. She is an expert. She will bring artifacts. All during the month, we're going to show a documentary, The Legacy of Heart Mountain. There will be origami workshops for children, adult, family sessions. The Get Crafty sessions, there's going to be koinobori, flying carp, and also Japanese heraldry coasters we're going to be making. There's going to be haiku contests. I'm going to be showing at every branch a slideshow loaned to us from the National Gallery of Art. And it is going to focus on Edo art in Japan. It's a teaching packet and a slideshow. It's going to be shown at all the branches. And there will be Japanese folding screen craft workshops at every branch. So, again, thank you for your support, because without what you do, we would not be able to bring this to all the people of Caroline County. And if you take nothing else away, Chief, give us the final number, the actual final number. 28. That is the date. March 28th, when Lily is going to be coming, the curator from the Japanese American National Museum in Los Angeles, to our place and honoring us. So, thank you very much. And there is always something wonderful happening at the library. And I just can't say thank you enough.
Thank you very much. Other board members have questions or comments? Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
What day are we going to be serving sushi?
No sushi.
Would you like some?
No, we'll probably be sticking with green tea and things that can be served safely at room temperature for an extended period of time. With no allergic reactions.
Other board members? If not, thank you very much for your report. We appreciate your enthusiasm. And any way we can help, we will. Thank you.
Thank you.
That takes us to our next report. Mr. Nelson from VDOT. If you're here, you can come forward at this time. Let's see that.
Good evening, members of the board.
Good evening, sir.
Here to provide you all an update on projects that are going on in Caroline County. First, I wanted to let you all know of an upcoming event that's going to be on February the 25th from 1 to 3 p.m. at 86 Deacon Road, which is my office in Fredericksburg. There'll be a House Bill 2 stakeholders outreach meeting. Representatives from the Secretary of Transportation's office will be present to field questions and actually take comments. We had a meeting a couple of months ago, and Mike Fincham had attended the meeting. This time, it will actually be the Secretary's office will be in person to help answer some of the questions. So I encourage your participation. To go over some of our preliminary engineering projects, the Route 721 bridge replacement over Beverly Creek, there's a public hearing and citizen information meeting scheduled for February the 24th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Lawson Marriott Elementary School in St. Stephen's Church in King and Queen. The meeting will be utilized to solicit comments for the upcoming construction project and also to provide citizens information regarding the temporary structure that we're going to have to put in place. I know last time I had given you all some information regarding that structure would be in place somewhere towards the end of February, when they're hoping that it will be in place sometime in March. To give you an update on construction projects, the main update I've got is we're getting ready to start our resurfacing for the FY 2015 resurfacing schedules, and a part of that work we're going to be doing resurfacing in the entire town of Bowling Green. So before that, starting February 23rd, we're going to have to go in and do some upgrades to their curb ramps to make sure they're ADA compliant as part of a federal regulation. So that work will start on February 23rd of 2015 and take approximately 1 to 2 weeks to complete. Now I'll go over some of the concerns from the last board meeting. Mr. Black, you had requested litter pickup along Route 639. That pickup was done on the 26th. And Mr. Taylor, you had also requested that. Mr. Thomas, I'm sorry. You had also requested that. So I think we've gotten that squared away. I did want to mention that.
You have no idea how unhappy that makes me.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
It was where the seats were at before.
Okay.
We did notice that there are plenty of Adopt a Highway participants on Route 639, and those Adopt a Highway participants are really required to pick up litter 4 times a year. None of them have been active, so we're going to be actively pursuing participants to adopt a highway and adopt Route 639 to help us with the litter concerns that are going on. Mr. Seeley, you had at one point in time requested an update on the Page Road crossing, I believe. I've talked to the roadmaster from CSX, and he's indicated that it'll be replaced in June of 2015, by June of 2015.
So it will be done by June 2015?
That's what they told me.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Taylor, you had requested information regarding the rural additions. We've got a meeting tentatively scheduled for February the 17th to discuss rural additions. And that would be all I've had. Do you all have any concerns or?
Other board members have questions? Mr. Thomas and then Mr. Black.
Mr. Nelson, excuse me, but I didn't hear anything after you called me Mr. Taylor. So you did do 639, or you did not do it up to Madison School?
We picked up traffic all along 639.
Okay, up to Madison School?
Yes, we did, all the way to 207.
Okay. And then you did say, I was getting my hearing back, you did say you're going to have the Adopt a Highway groups more active or ask them
we're going to, people have Adopt a Highway now, so they've got the signs up saying sponsored by such and such. Well, I went back and looked at the records. They have not been picking up. Okay. So we're going to remove those signs, which will in turn make people question why have my sign been removed. We will renegotiate the terms of what their litter pickup is supposed to be. If they're not amenable to it, we'll find somebody else to do it.
Okay, okay. And one other thing which I'm sure is out of your control, but there are a lot of people in the county who commute to Northern Virginia and D.C.
Okay.
Hot lanes.
Mm-hmm.
We basically didn't do anything but extend it from where it was below Prince William to Stafford, and yet we're charging everybody for the entire stretch of road?
It's based on where you get out.
Yeah, but we already had road
Yeah, this is a part of the agreement. So with the hot lanes to be extended down, this was a part of the deal.
Would you possibly know who at VDOT is responsible for that deal so I could personally take the citizens' complaints to that person?
Well, if you have any complaints, you can funnel them to me, and we've got an office that is able to handle those complaints.
I have the utmost respect for you, but I would like to voice my complaints to someone that wouldn't necessarily
I think that
see
was
again.
okay. I will find that information out for you. That would be the governor.
Mr. Nelson, I had called you a couple weeks ago in regards to the Route 1 stoplight again, where there was traffic backing up in the morning.
Yep.
And I have not received any more phone calls, so I take it that was taken care of.
We did. I forgot to add that, but yes, we had additional timings added in the morning.
So it was nothing. It wasn't an equipment issue. It was because we had the equipment issue for years and years on that stoplight, and then I know you guys replaced some equipment in that light.
This was something that had carried over from the construction project where they had not adjusted timings correctly. So
Okay.
we've gone back and looked at it and added the ample time for the morning time.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Underwood? Mr. Akers? Okay. Mr. Seeley?
No, sir.
Okay, and I don't have any either. Thank you very much, Mr. Nelson. We appreciate your time and your efforts.
Thank you
You've
all.
been very responsive, and we appreciate it.
Thanks, no problem.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson.
That takes us to our next presentation, the proposed fiscal year 2016 school board budget. Dr. Killer, Superintendent of Schools, along with any other board members that wish to come.
Got all my backup, okay. Good evening,
Good evening, sir.
gentlemen. We're here to present our budget again tonight, and Mr. Thomas, we can't offer you any sushi, but we may have a little sake if you want to come by the school board office.
No, thank you.
Okay. If you look on, does everyone have their,
No.
no?
Well, it's coming.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Oh, you are? Okay. Okay, go ahead and put it on the second page. If you look at the second page, the school board budget priorities. If we say priorities, these are the things, of course, that are top of our list that we feel like that we need to pay a lot of attention to and do the best we can with them. And gentlemen, this is, a lot of times you make a budget, it's a wish list, and this is definitely not a wish list, it's a need list. And we'll go on from there. Look at page 3, and you'll see the budget request summary. Are we on it? Yeah. You'll see there in that first column, the original requests that were requested back in December was $3,056,899. We took it back and cut it almost in half. And as you can see, the cuts up there and additional staff right on down to what we call down to the bone in a lot of spots. If you have any questions on any of these as we go along, just yell out. All right. Next page 4, we have the $90,000. This is 2 teachers, 2 paraprofessionals to add 2 additional VIP pre-K classes. This, of course, is to the local match requirements for the state grant. Instructional materials, it's $25,000, and instructional materials are so important. You know, when you go out right before school starts, and it's not just in Caroline, but you see it, Spotsy and his King George and so forth, they have places set up and stores and all where you can get materials and donate them to the school and this sort of thing. And of course, a lot of the teachers in every school that I've ever been in or been around spend a lot of money out of their pocket doing things for the kids or getting materials that they need. And really, this is not enough, but this is what we've got to go with. $50,000 technology. So you can see up there what that empowers. And anytime you talk about technology, you're talking about big money. And $25,000 for professional development. On page 5, we have on the left-hand side, that's our current salary this year. And I'll give Dr. Kilo and the finance department did a lot of work on this to try to get this thing halfway balanced, because it was like a jigsaw puzzle. It was jumping around to where if a teacher had been so many years that's employed, they didn't know where they were going to be next year, if they'd be up a step or if they'd go backwards or what. And they worked real hard on that. In the right-hand side there, beside the left-hand column, you'll see the proposed scale that we tried to get, or we hope to get. And you can see the difference there as it goes. We're not going to go into each one of them. You can read that. But it's important. If you'll notice in the paper the last couple of weeks, I know Spotsylvania, they finally gave a raise next year, and a big write-up in the paper and so forth about it. And also King George, they were giving their teachers a raise because they said they wanted to be with Caroline and so forth. And this is saying something for us. In the past 4 years, we've tried to take care of our teachers, whereas a lot of these counties haven't been able to do that. They've either frozen their salaries, and if we didn't give them the salaries, we helped them on their insurance, which was a big help. Oh, that's just a repeat? Okay. And if you go on and look at page 8, gentlemen, it says the school board is requesting $1.7 million in additional funds for the fiscal year 15-16 from the County Board of Supervisors. Oh, yeah, yeah. Look at page 6. This was a very important part of our priority, is the non-teaching salary increases. It's like I said before when we talked and so forth, that we've got a lot